Hello, everyone. It's Sam, the Reclaimer developer here. It is January of 2023. I hope you all had a wonderful 2022 holiday season with those in your circle, your friends and family. Hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. And I thought I would kick off my first devlog video of 2023 with just something really simple. Um, I'll get to the demo of what I have right now. I mean, a bit later, but there really isn't too much to demo at the moment just because most of my focus has been on, sort of like the low level, very back end stuff. And so the state of the game, as far as like how it looks, isn't going to be changing all that much. But I thought I would just take a couple of minutes to talk about what I what is it that I'm looking to do with 2023. And I just took a couple of minutes to throw together a quick schedule. And this is just a snippet from a Google Sheets document that I was working on this morning. And just something to keep me focused and like more of a roadmap for this year. And what I've decided on is I wanted to make this year all about the developer sandbox. And so what I mean by that is you could call it like what I'm working on is like the game's like engine. I don't really consider what I'm working on to be an engine because an engine in my mind is very generic, something that you can do a lot of things with, whereas these core libraries are tailored specifically for the game that I'm working on. So I like to consider it, I'm working on a game. I'm not working on an engine. So, and the sandbox is something that's going to be thrown together that you can just load at any time, and it's something that shows off pretty much every feature or like every component that the game is going to have. So it will be a place where you can spawn enemies, you can spawn weapons, toggle off different render components, lighting components, everything that's going to go into the game. The game's core systems and assets can all be put together in this one place that basically it's going to be the thing that stretches the limitations of the game to show what it's capable of. And it'll be something that's going to be like, this isn't going to be a finished sandbox by the end of this year, but it's going to be something that can be constantly improved upon and added to show different features, like how the main character is going to be interacting with different things, how the environment affects him, like different states that the character can be in, and things of that nature. So, and on this list, there's a bunch of different things that I wanted to focus on, like give each month a job, essentially. So I did a couple of streams, and the first stream we had some people show up and we got to talk, and the second stream was just basically me streaming in front of, no one, but that's okay. And it was mostly me working on the asset tables. And so the asset tables are just essentially files that have all of the different assets, the data packed into files. And there's a file for like each major type. So like there's going to be a file for textures, a file for sound files, a file for 3D models, like the vectors or the vertices and whatnot. And so getting that system up and running is going to be the focus for this year, or not this year, but this month. And from that point onward, each month this year is going to have a job. And so there's a few in here that are going to be quite daunting, and it's pretty much going to be like in the later part of the year. These are all things that I have very high level, like superficial knowledge of. Like, I've seen people do these things. I've done a bit of research. I've read about, how these systems are put together. So this is going to be a very fluid schedule. Like, I have no idea if this is going to be something I can realistically stick to, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And, it's, circumstances that are going to come up through the year may change how this works. Like I said, this isn't something that I do for a living. It's just something that I'm doing mostly as a hobby at this point, and I'm just taking the next step and the next step and the next step. And kind of like that quote from Rogue One, where it's like, you take the next chance and the next chance until we win, or the chances are spent. So that's kind of what I'm doing, is like, the game is not really a game at all at this point. It's just more or less a place where I've just been putting a bunch of code that does a couple of things, and I'm just taking the next step and the next step and the next step. So I feel like this is going to be reasonable up until probably we get to sometime in July. I feel like I can realistically have most of these features implemented, and I feel like we may run into some trouble when we start getting into the really advanced stuff, which is going to be kind of closer to the end of the year. And specifically, it's going to be lighting and physically based rendering / ray tracing. I have no idea, like, if there's going to be any snags, it's probably going to be those 2 months. But I wanted to put together something that will brace us for putting together an official demo sometime in 2024. So I know it's a brand new year, and I'm not sure what all we're going to be getting into this year, but I know that I'm going to be giving it my best shot to just put something together that you would consider like the core game functionality. And none of these things are going to be 100% complete. I feel like the core game libraries are going to be in flux probably until the gameplay is finalized. So, which could be, very far off in the future. But just putting together a short-term plan. Short-term being like probably the next 2 years. Is this year's going to be all about the sandbox, and then next year's going to be all about putting together a demo. So that's going to be, this year is going to be demonstrating, the core engine features, and then next year's going to be taking those features and actually putting together gameplay that can be demoed and played, hopefully by investors who will be willing to invest in the product or the project. And as far as sponsorship or donations go at this point, I'm not asking for anything. There will be a link to a Patreon coming at some point this year, and donations are appreciated, but they are never expected, especially not at this point. Those who have been following along, you've seen the state of the game. It's basically nothing. I could not, in good conscience, ask for anything at this point while there's nothing really tangible that, that people could get behind. I can't, in good conscience, ask for anything at that point. But one thing that I will be putting together this year, as you can see from the schedule, or this month actually, is the website. So I've secured a domain for the reclaimergame.com, and I'll be putting together just a basic website where people can find all the links to the various outlets. I'll be putting blog posts, links to the vlogs, the streaming schedule. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about, is the streaming schedule. So I mentioned earlier that I've had 2 streams. The second, while it was okay, but there wasn't really uh, anyone who showed up to that one. So what I think I'm gonna do is just do a monthly stream that focuses on each one of these things, and there will be updates to the schedule. Like, I'll make videos like this whenever there's a change to the schedule. Things happen. This is going to be very in flux. This is sort of like an ideal roadmap for this year. So there'll be probably, I think, there will be a stream on the last week of every month where I focus on everything that's being done, everything that's been done for that month, and just finalizing, getting things ready to a state where we're ready to work on the next thing. And I feel like that's going to be better than just sort of kind of jumping into stuff. Like, I jumped into making the asset tables live on stream, and there was just a lot of me thinking and working on issues. And I'm a average programmer. It takes me time to figure things out, and I just don't want to bore people with that. So I feel like there would be a lot more engagement, and just sort of I'd be a lot more focused on like what I know needs to be done closer to the end of, I guess you could call these monthly sprints. So so that's basically it at this point. Is I just wanted to throw together a quick video that shows what I've been working on and my plans for going into the year. And with that, I can go ahead and just demonstrate what's going on, which, again, isn't much. Everybody's seen this before. So it's pretty much the same scene. And this is working off of my main branch, so there's not really any new features. The asset tables aren't in here. The biggest new thing that I wanted to talk about, which I will probably make another video this week, is the entity system. And everybody and their mother has different... it's very subjective how entity systems are set up. I think for a long time people have set up the idea of, things that are based on world modeling and inheritance, where it's like you have this generic game object that everything inherits from, or entity component systems where everything's loosely coupled and things move from, a thing is a relationship to a thing has a relationship. So instead of things having like, class attributes, they would have components that they can look up. And I don't really subscribe to anything, because the problem is different depending on, what you're trying to do. I don't believe that there's a magic bullet that can address every single problem. So the problems that I'm facing are going to be different. If I was working on this game or something else, the problems are different. So I'll do a video on that at some point, and we'll go over that. But anyway, I just wanted to make this video to just show the roadmap, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Stay tuned, and I will make a video whenever the website is up, where you can follow me. I'll have a mailing list and have a place where you can see blog posts and links to everything that I have going on in regards to the game. Thank you all for showing up. I hope you have a wonderful 2023, and I'll see you in the next video.